Going to places where there's a purpose for you, if it's a workshop, if it's an event, if it's a conference, if it's a Burlington Chamber of Commerce event, those kinds of things. You're getting something out of it, but you're also meeting people along the way.
Hi, welcome to the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast. I'm here today with Michelle. You were here not too long ago talking about HR.
Yes.
And we got talking about networking and realized how great of an opportunity it's been for you to network as an individual. So tell us about your background, a little bit your story.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for having me back. I'm glad to be here again. So 30 years in HR and worked in a corporate environment for a very long time. And about a year and a half ago, I went out on my own as an entrepreneur. And when you're doing that, it's pretty challenging because you haven't had a network. So you've been somewhat tunnel vision sometimes with just the contacts that you have in your business. And so it was necessary for me to get out of my comfort zone and make sure that I was making those contacts in the industry to get my business started.
Yeah, so from being corporate to on your own, you decided right away to join networking events, Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
How did you go about it?
Yeah, so my path actually was interesting. So I left the corporate world and I decided to take a little bit of time off, which sometimes people do in that transition period. And then I actually had a personal physical transformation. So I had long black hair down to here, and I just decided that it was going to be a new me and let my gray come through. So that was getting over that comfort zone of being in that, sort of old personality that I was in and be able to step out and say, okay, this is someone new, this is me. So as I was doing that, I was starting to meet new people, and I joined the Burlington Chamber of Commerce, which I think I mentioned in the last podcast, and it was a really valuable experience. It was a very comfortable environment, and it let me attend events by myself. They have ambassador badges, so when you go, you don't have to feel uncomfortable. People will come to you. And so I just went to different events. I had been part of an association for human resources professionals that I hadn't gone to for a long time. I think I only had 23 connections on my LinkedIn. So it was really just an opportunity to pace myself and to start reaching out and meeting new people, but for the right reasons.
Yes.
Right? Not sort of just the politician kind of typical scenario.
Go and hand out cards.
Exactly. There was a purpose to it, and it funny enough, it felt more natural than I had expected it to.
Okay. Yeah. So talk a little bit more about that purpose. Like you had it in mind that you were going to get something out of it.
Yes.
Tell us how did you go about that?
So going to the events just allowed me to know a little bit more about the community. So if you're going to be a small business owner, you're going to be doing some entrepreneur work, you're going to be in this particular community, you want to start to reach out and meet some people. So that was my purpose, was to go out and start to see what's happening in the Burlington community, meet some other entrepreneurs and small business owners. And when I did that, I started to meet other people that just genuinely I had a connection with. And I actually met a photographer who was a member of the Burlington Chamber. I had some pictures taken just to sort of celebrate the new me.
Yes.
And then I showed those to a friend who knew a talent agent in Toronto who suggested that I sign up with her. She signed me. I'm now in a commercial. I've been doing improv classes. They're things that a year ago I would have never, ever, ever thought that I would be doing. And it's just because I went out there naturally in an organic way, met people, and stuff just started coming when when you do it in a genuine way, just to meet people. It's fascinating. I can't believe I'm sitting here.
So I've been a huge supporter of the Chamber as an example, and networking in general, the entire career I've had in business so far. So what I hear a lot is people come to me and say, what did you get out of it? And then I always don't know what the right answer is because it's never like I go there, I give a card, I get business. But for you explain it more as a path. You can look back now a year and a half later. So tell us more about that.
Yeah. So having a specific purpose, and it can be a purpose. I mean, you can go to an event for networking and you can hand out business cards to share your business. You can go and actually be there to learn something through a workshop, for example. And maybe there is a call to action. Maybe it's to going so that you can meet someone who's similar in your industry so that you can get some information from them about, what their learnings were around opening up their own business, etc. So you can have a purpose, but the purpose has to be genuine. If you're going specifically to be a serial networker, how many people can I meet? How many business cards can I hand out today? You're not going to be finding genuine connections, and there won't be synergies. Same thing with LinkedIn. I think that's another thing, right? People just send out these connections on LinkedIn all the time, but there's no note or this is how I met you or this is where we met. So from a piece of advice perspective, even on something like LinkedIn, I don't accept invitations where someone doesn't have a note. I will actually reply back and say, thank you for the invitation. Where is it that we met, or do we have a joint connection? What would be beneficial in terms of us connecting? And I actually will respond that way, just so that I know that there's a genuine, mutually beneficial connection there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then for a new entrepreneur, and we target a lot of our podcast to realtors and entrepreneurs. So what would be advice that you would give someone who's starting fresh to like be successful?
Yeah. But first of all, not think of networking as a process. Think of it really as just genuine human connections. Because on a professional and a personal level, we just, as human beings, we want to connect, right? Yeah. So start small. So you could actually do it with family and friends. Maybe you have a cousin who you haven't seen for the last 5 years, and you invite them out for coffee and ask them how things are going at work. Mm-hmm. You just kind of get comfortable doing that. And then you could go to an event with a friend. Mm-hmm. But when you get there with the friend, make sure that you still split and you don't just stay together. So there's easy ways to get yourself into the concept of networking. And I think, in my perspective, if you see it as genuine human connections and not the process of networking, it makes it a lot easier. But yeah, going out and just going to places where there's a purpose for you. If it's a workshop, if it's an event, if it's a conference, if it's, a Burlington Chamber of Commerce event, those kinds of things. You're getting something out of it, but you're also meeting people along the way. Yeah. And something that I would say to people is, just when you get there, you don't necessarily have to be nervous and say, what am I going to say? I don't know what to say about myself. Put it on to the other person. People love talking about themselves. Mm-hmm. So if you go to any event, all you have to say is, what brings you here? That's it. That's all you have to remember. So anywhere you go to a networking event or anything, just say, what brings you here? And then the person will talk, and then you'll just continue on in a dialogue. It's a lot easier to do than people think. I think people think it's a much more stereotypical, difficult process, but it's really not.
What would be a couple key learnings that you've learned in the past year in your networking?
So I would say, don't be a talking head. Okay. So when you're connecting with someone, it's not all about us. It's about getting information from them. Yeah. It's making sure that there is synergies and a mutual connection. You don't have to be best friends with the person that you networked with if you just don't think that there's anything there. So you don't have to feel that pressure. So to me, that was the thing. You can actually sense and feel when there's a genuine connection. That would be 2 pieces of advice. I would also say that just making sure that you are purposeful in why you've gone to something. Because if you go to an event and you don't really know why you're there, you're going to be awkward and you're just going to feel uncomfortable yourself. So
know what to do.
Yeah. So just make sure that you've got a purpose and a reason for going to whatever event or connection, and lots of associations. I mean, it's amazing how genuine people are, right? Yeah. So whether it's an alumni association or any kind of professional group, most people feel awkward as well. So just, when you go, it'll work out. I think that's a piece of advice, is just don't be so nervous. Just go and try and be genuine, and it should be fine.
Very cool. What would you say you're grateful from your experience with networking so far?
I would probably say that it gave me confidence. Funny enough. Yeah. I think sitting here talking to you and doing the podcast might sound like I'm a very extroverted kind of individual, but really I'm not, or I wasn't anyway. Okay. And the networking has really helped me build confidence to be able to walk into a room now and just walk up to someone and say, hi, my name's Michelle. I don't think we've met yet. Okay. I would have never done that a year ago. Yeah. And now I have the confidence because it's not scary. Networking's not scary. It's helpful. Yes. And the other folks, as I said, are usually a little bit nervous as well. So if you can be the one to break the ice and come in with the confidence, it makes a big difference. So it's really changed my approach to when I go to activities and events. Yeah.
Would you say it helped you in your business? Like how specifically, what benefits did you get into
So the benefits would be connecting with people in the community, being able to identify what some of the needs are. So the networking of what brings you here, typically people will identify a need. And then that's an opportunity for you to think, I might have something that I might be able to offer. So really listening and casting that net wide in terms of the people that you connect with. Don't assume that someone who is a chef or someone who has a real estate business or someone who has a large company, I'm not going to connect with those people because I don't have anything in common. My biggest learning for being able to build the business is there is opportunity in business everywhere.
Yes.
You just have to be open to it. And when you have those open conversations, things actually come to you. So,
and then in terms of like, now you said if there's a chef or a realtor or whatever, if you're a realtor yourself and you meet other realtors, like I get a lot of people say, oh, it's all realtors out there. Like, but it's for you, it would be the same. How many other HR consultants, business consultants are there? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, everyone has a specialty. So I think that's the thing in the conversation. What brings you here, having the dialogue, it really makes a difference when you have a genuine conversation. You start to see that there are, there's a terminology that a lady shared with me recently. It's called co-opetition. Okay. So you think you are in competition with people like you, other realtors, other HR, but actually if you cooperate, there may be something that they offer that you don't and vice versa, and you might be able to partner. And that actually happened to me. So I actually have I actually have an offering for HR professionals right now. It's called Elevate HR, and it's a workshop. And it's because I sat beside a lady randomly, although I don't think anything's random, when I went to the Burlington Chamber event for new members. And in less than a year, we've combined and we're co-founders of a business to offer up this training for HR professionals. And I would think she and I are both in the same space. We must be competing. But we're not, because she has a different background and I have a different background. And as two HR professionals, we have this great offering now for training. So don't look at those other people as the same as you. Find out what's unique about them. And everyone's different in some way.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your story and for all this knowledge.
Yes, that's great. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you.